Everyone, in this video I want to show you another bonus feature in Cortex 1.5. Um, the three main features that I described in last week's video are still on track to be in Cortex 1.5, and realistically those are the things that are holding up the release. So we've got Cortex 1.5. It'll drop in 2 or 3 weeks probably. And those three big features are the ability to manage users and security groups, the ability to see how your one steps are constructed, and finally, do something with external business objects, external data sources. So stay tuned for those. We'll have a couple of videos next week. If all goes according to plan, next week's video will be all about one steps, and the week after will be all about external business objects. Fingers crossed. But today, I want to talk about printing, and specifically exporting as a PDF. So more on that in just a second, but I do want to remind everyone that every Tuesday I host what I call the Cortex Users Group. It's every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. There's a Zoom link. You can get an invite. You can request an invite down in the description below. There's a link to request an invite, as well as all sorts of links to all sorts of good stuff about Cortex, what we're doing, documentation, and the demo site that I'll be demoing from in just a second here. But every Tuesday, that Cortex Users Group, anyone is welcome, whether you're thinking about using Cortex or actually using Cortex. You're welcome to come ask me questions, ask other Cortex users questions, or just chat about things you'd like to see in Cortex or things you'd like to see in the ecosystem. Because aside from Cortex, we are starting to work on some other things looking forward into the future. You may have seen some of that in previous videos on the channel. But yeah, so hope to see you there Tuesday morning. Now, let's get into a demo. All right, so here's Cortex. And here is, it looks like I tried to search for OBS instead of actually opening OBS. That's cool. Here's Cortex. Here's the home page. I'm actually not going to talk about searching right now. We're just going to go to Browse and then go to Incident. And if you look in the top right corner, you'll notice a little switch. And that's brand new. That's what we're going to talk about today. If I toggle that switch on, you'll see that the grid changes a little bit. This description field is where it's most noticeable. It was truncated and has ellipses. If I turn on print view, those ellipses go away, and I can see the entire contents of that field. Okay, that's cool, but grids are probably not what you're going to be printing most of the time. I mean, maybe you are, but let's drill into a business object form. And in just a second, this will load. So far, nothing's different. Everything looks familiar. We've got the form arrangement, all the tabs, related CIs down here, related CIs up here, because they're actually duplicated. This form arrangement has two tabs, also called related CIs, or both called related CIs. I call that out because in just a minute it'll look a little bit weird, but it's correct. All right, so let's turn on print view. We'll notice that it's also up here in the top right corner, brand new on the form view. We'll toggle that on. This takes a little bit longer just because there's more to show. There's more data on the page. And now we see the same top form that we saw before. But now instead of tabs, we see a header and an actual form underneath it. And now journals, this was the second tab, and we see a grid there. And resolution details, that was the next tab. And we see the actual form that we would see on that tab, and then so on and so forth. And now we see related CIs and related CIs. Again, it looks like something's duplicated, but that's because it's duplicated in the form arrangement. So basically, how this works is instead of showing tabs, it just shows the contents of those tabs stacked one after the other. In addition, all of the grids also have that print mode set on them. So on the, let's say the journals tab, so we'll toggle print mode off and then go over to the journals tab. We'd actually have ellipses. This value would be truncated, which again, not very helpful for printing. So if we toggle print view back on and scroll down to the journals area, we see that it's not truncated, and we see the entire value. Now, this is helpful because if we go to print, we actually want to see all the information. We don't just want to see kind of like a screenshot of the form or of the form arrangement. And in addition, when we hit, I'm going to hit Control P. Same thing would happen if you did file print or whatever it is on your computer. The sidebar will go away because there's no point in printing that. So if I do Command P, because I'm on a Mac, and I'm sorry, this is super tiny. This is the system window. I don't think I can do much to make it bigger. But you can see the top level form, then the overview form, and all of that other information directly underneath it. And it defaults to landscape. The reason for this is because, well, at least with the out-of-the-box content, the width of the form is about the width of a page-ish. And portrait, it was starting to cut things off, and that's not good. So it defaults to landscape. Hopefully that accounts for all the space that you have on your all the space that you need from your forms. Again, it does here, and I feel like these out-of-the-box forms are actually pretty wide. So hopefully it works for what you need it for. But again, here's a PDF. It's roughly 4 pages long. I guess kind of 3.5, and that's all of the information on this business object. That's the overview form, the summary form, and then all of the other tabs from the form arrangement. So that's a complete picture. And then between this and exporting these grids to CSV, that's pretty much everything. Everything you might need from a particular record. So let me know in the comments if this makes sense for you, if this works for you, or if there are other things that you might need for exporting particular business object records. I feel like this is kind of the simple solution, and it uses capabilities built into the browser, so there isn't a whole lot of trickery that needs to go on with all the business objects and accounting for different business object configurations. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this works for everybody. I will say the one thing that might be a little bit weird, but I'll also say I don't think Cherwell handles this either, is embedded forms that are longer than the available space. So if I switch back to the demo screen, this specifics form has a scroll bar. You can see most of it, a little bit of it is blocked by my face right here. But you can scroll up and down in that frame, but obviously when you print, you're only going to be able to see this top section here, which is, again, like I said, I think that's what Cherwell did as well. So I'm open to suggestions for how I can handle that. Cherwell doesn't really account for the idea of if this form is longer than the available space, push everything down. So I think if I tried to do that, I risk, overwriting or overlapping stuff that could potentially be underneath the form. Obviously here, there isn't anything directly underneath the embedded form, but I don't know. And Cortex doesn't know when it's running, how your forms are laid out. It just puts the controls on the page where those controls are configured to be located. So it doesn't do any fancy detection of, well, can I do this? Can I do that? So yeah, that potential shortcoming, but that's kind of the nature of how Cherwell is configured. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So again, Cortex users group every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Link in the description. If you like what you saw here, make sure you like the videos, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Leave a comment down below if you have thoughts, if you're excited about this feature. And again, stay tuned for the next couple videos where we're going to talk about some, in my opinion, pretty awesome features. I'm excited about them. Um, I'm trying to do them right, and that's why they're taking a little bit longer because I want to see them actually make sense instead of just be check the box. I want to see them actually feel like they belong. So you'll see them in the next couple of videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.